You're watching Pyro Media Network.
I gotta tell you something I could do. I could be running around chasing you, but I won't. Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive. If you hadn't run away every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right next to me tonight. But you didn't know me, all you wanted was a game to play, and you couldn't handle that I had my ways. Around your mind tricks and your side chicks, I'm a winner. You didn't need this, it's a part of the game.
Hello, Pyro Media family. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience with us is fruitful. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. And we do hope you consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Hey, everyone. Happy Friday, Junior. My name is Dr. Nicole D. Vick. Welcome to Nicole D. Vick Live. Every single Thursday, I go live on social media to share with you important topics in the Black community from a social justice perspective, because that's literally how I see everything. I'm so happy to have you here. I hope y'all are doing well. It's spring. I'm so excited now when I get off work. The sun is still up. I'm like, yes, we are entering the time where daylight stays for hours. It'd be 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and the sun is out. And I'm like, yes, we are here. I'm so excited because winter be messing with my spirit, and I don't like it. So I'm really happy to be here. Last month, I was focused on public health and social justice, specifically around the issues around all the things that the administration is doing to just dismantle, right? Put our institutions in disarray. And I'm like, this is crazy. And so I focused on that last month. This month, as we go into May, into spring and summertime, I wanted to talk about moms and motherhood, since Mother's Day is Sunday. And I was like, wait a minute, Mother's Day is Sunday. What happened? I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I feel like I thought I had more time and I don't. So we got to, keep it pushing. It's okay. And so I thought that for this month, I would talk about mothers of adult children. A lot of times when we talk about Mother's Day, oh, the little babies and the little kids, school-age kids. Well, some of us have grown kids, and not even grown like 18, 19, 20, 21, like grown like 28, 29, 30, right? And I wanted to talk to those women because I feel like we have a special sort of role in the lives of our children. And I have a special place in my heart for teen moms that were teenagers when they became mothers for the first time, because I think we have an interesting perspective on a lot of things, because we weren't even adults when we became parents. And so now we have adults that we are parents to. I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. So I wanted to talk about that. And with that, I'm going to share, some of my journey into motherhood. If you read my book, Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson, you probably know some of my story, or if you know me, you know some of my story. But I'm going to talk about it a little bit and talk about how my role as a mother has changed as my child has aged. You know, she's 28. And so I even tell her, baby, you old now. And I know you are old, but I'm not. So I don't know how that happened, but that's the reality in the moment. So you could be, yes, 28 years old, but I'm still young. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, boo-boo. So let's talk about it. I became a mom at the age of 17. So I was an older teen, but I was still a teen. The teen was still in the number 17. Okay. And it was really weird because I was a nerd. Like I had the good grades in school. I never got in trouble. And just the really the smart kid, the nerd, the one that everybody looked to for answers for everything, right? I'm the oldest daughter in my family. And so, there's a specific role for the firstborn oldest daughter, right? And so I think there was an expectation that Nicole was supposed to follow the rules, make the good grades, and do what she's supposed to do in life, and everything will be fine. Now, what had happened was, got to high school, and the irony of the whole thing is, my parents sent me to parochial school and elementary school. They sent me to public school for middle school, and then they sent me back to parochial school for high school. My mother told me specifically that she was like, I don't want you to go to public high school. Something gonna happen. Little did she know something happened in the parochial high school. Okay. Anyway, there was a guy there, real cute. And he's still, I mean, to this day, baby daddy is still good looking man. Ain't gonna lie. But back then, also a good looking man. And, I had a situation where I would say, relatively low self-esteem. I had been fat as a child. I'm still fat now, but, I was struggling with the self-image. And I will say that it was easy for me to sort of kind of go along, right? Because I had never had that kind of attention paid to me. Long story short, sister girl, access to birth control. We can throw the public health stuff in on top of what I'm telling you. Access to condoms and things were not as easy back then. I can remember going into the store, being brave enough to go into the store to look for condoms. They're locked up. I'm a teenager. I'm not going to ask the clerk to unlock the cabinet. I'm just going to kind of walk out, which is what I did in embarrassment. And so some of that question around access to birth control and all those kinds of things, it was kind of sketchy for me. And again, not having the confidence to learn how to access them, just didn't do it. So sister girl got pregnant. And everybody was like, what? What's going on? It was, the whole family was in shambles and shenanigans. I think the only person that was not in shambles was my mom. Surprisingly, I thought she was going to take me down and that is part of the reason why I told her that I was pregnant in the grocery store. I told her in the Ralph's and Ladera Center, because I said she can't kill me in the Ralph's in Ladera Center if I'm in public. But she actually took it really well. My younger brother, took it harder than anybody. He was upset. Anyway, Andrea is born 8 weeks early. She is premature. She weighs 3 pounds, 11 ounces. And I'm in college. I was in undergrad at USC. I think I had finished my first semester and was trying to finish my second one. And she came 8 weeks early, right in the middle of second semester. And just to make it brief, one of the things that people would say to me is, you should take a leave of absence from school. You should stay home. You should take care of your child and then come back when you're done. And I will say that one of the things that, I didn't know a lot. There's a lot that I will admit I had no idea. I was 17 years old, but I knew that dropping out of school was not the answer, right? I said, I'm not doing that. That don't make no sense to me. And so I had her on a Wednesday. I will never forget this. I had her on a Wednesday. They sent me home from the hospital Friday. That Sunday was Easter Sunday, and I was a church-going girl at that time. Went to church on Easter Sunday, and I went back to school on Monday. People was looking at me like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? What you mean? Like, this is the answer to being able to take care of my family, so I'm going to keep doing it. And so that began the journey of sort of Nicole becoming Nicole, and also Nicole being a mother. And again, we grew up together. And I feel like, again, it's just this special relationship that she and I had. And I will say that even at that age, not knowing everything, I knew that I wanted her relationship and my relationship to be different than my relationship with my mother. Not to say that our relationship is horrible, but it's definitely not probably what I would consider an ideal relationship, a mother-daughter relationship. But my daughter and I was very intentional in making sure that we had a stronger bond. And so that's really like the story of raising her. I had to co-parent. And gratefully and thankfully that worked out overall. There were moments where it's like, what is really going on? But I think we made it work, and we had the support of both sides of the family, right? And so, here we are now. Like I said, she's 28. She'll be 29 years old next year. Which, like I said, I don't understand that because I am young. So how is she getting older and I'm not? I don't know. But one of the questions I wanted to ponder on in this episode is how my role as a mother has changed as my child has become an adult. And I will say that one of the things that is really important, and I have a graphic, but we'll show it in just a second. I want to kind of respond to this first is, of course, when you're raising your child, you're trying to teach them and help them grow and give them experiences and things so that they become a productive adult, right? So the goal as a parent of a baby into childhood and school age and beyond is to make sure that they can take care of themselves, right? I always tell my daughter, look, I'm gonna be dead. One of these days I ain't gonna be here no more. She refuses to believe it. It's true. I will not be here at some point. You gonna have to figure this out and take care of everything for yourself. That's it. That's all. And so the goal is that you can now take care of your life and manage yourself when I'm not here. And even before that, right? And so I think that's where the role shifts. So now that she is an adult, she is out of the house, been out for years, has her own place, has her own family. The role has now shifted to support, right? She'll call me, Mom, hey, what do you think about this? Or, hey, I got this new job and I'm trying to do this thing. I want to do this spreadsheet to create this thing. Can you tell me like what you? And so we jump on a Zoom, and me and her is looking at this spreadsheet, and I'm like, do it like this. And I'm like, to me, that was so awesome that were able to have a moment like that, literally work related, doing stuff like that. So I think I have become, instead of the executive director of her life, right? Like, do this, go to school, drop you off, clean your room. Now I've become like the board member. Hey, have you considered this? Or sure, I think this is the way you should go. So as going from telling her what to do as opposed to now just really being a sounding board for her, and being secure enough in myself, and also have enough trust in her skill set to be that, right, to back away, like, girl, you got this, you figure it out, right? So I think that's one of the key things that is really important with your adult children, is to kind of be able to let them go, and to trust that you have given them the skills to do what they need to do. So now I want to share this graphic that I saw on Instagram. Y'all know I'll be scrolling on the Instagram. And it's beautiful. It says, my daughter is not a copy of me. She's an upgrade, wiser, bolder, freer than I ever was. She asks the hard questions, which she does, I once avoided. She speaks truths I only dare to whisper. She walks with the courage I found much later, which is also true. Watching her become is the greatest privilege of my life. She carries my love, not my limitations, exactly as it should be. I feel like that is so, whoever wrote that, I got it off of Michelle Baumgart's Instagram account. I don't know if she wrote that, but I feel like that is so true. Like, I never wanted her to be like me. I wanted her to be better than me. And some people will think, well, that means that she has to earn more money than me, or she has to have more degrees than me, or she has to be doing no, it's really about her character and sort of who she is as a person. And I feel like my daughter is definitely that. Like, she will call me to the table, like, girl, you be playing, you BSing right now. Her perspectives on a lot of things, I think, are so different than what I thought. Now, there are some generational differences where I'm like, for example, when it comes to work, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna use my paid time off. And I'm, a Gen Xer. And I'm like, now, why would you use all your paid time off and you're not actually sick? because now when you get sick, you ain't got no paid time off. That don't make no sense. So there are some generational where I'm like, I don't know about that, ma'am. Which really for me make me stressed out. Like, why are you doing this? But I also admire that courageousness where it's like, I don't have to stay here at this job, or I don't have to stay in this household, or stay in this city that I was born in. I can leave. I can go somewhere else to find something else to do with my life. And so to me, that level of courageousness, I wouldn't do it. I've never left the city that I was born and raised in. She's like, oh, bye, I'm going to Arizona. See you later. And I'm like, what? So that courageousness or that fearlessness to me is also just really, really admirable. Yeah, so I don't know. And I will also say, I don't know if I forgot in my notes if I was going to talk about this later, but one of the things I'll also say is I always thought that it was a lie, right? Where parents are like, it doesn't matter how old your child is, they're always your child. And I'm like, yeah, she grown, she good. Nah, no. She had a health incident recently where she had to have surgery. And you know, I'm here in LA with a broken ankle or recovering from a broken ankle. So I can't really get around. She's in Arizona in the hospital. I was told up. I'm in the bed trying to go to sleep. I'm talking to the ancestors. I'm talking to my grandmother, my great grandmother. I'm talking to everybody. It's not time for her to go see y'all. She needs to stay here. I'm literally having full-fledged conversations. Like, you make sure she's good because I can't be there. So great grandmama and grandma, handle it, right? And then I will also say this: being a parent of an adult child, it also reminds me how important your village is. I have a friend that's a nurse. You've met her. She's been on my podcast before. And when my daughter went to the hospital, she was like, my friend was like, Jamila was like, are you okay? I was like, no. And she said, listen, tomorrow we're going to call down to the hospital and I will talk to the nurse and we will see what's going on. And so we got on a 3-way call with the nurse at the hospital. And, you know, my friend, the nurse, was talking nurse language to the nurse at the hospital and got some questions answered. And she said, you feel better now? I said, yes, thank you. So even that kind of thing, right? I raised her to feel like Jamila is her auntie. And so, you know, they have conversations that I don't even know anything about. But in those moments, too, being able to rely on your village to help you with your child, regardless of their age, is also something really, really special. So, yeah. Let's go to commercial and we'll come back and talk about identity and growth and legacy and some other really cool things about being a mom of an adult child. One of the other things I'm going to say is they can drive you around places. That was the most exciting part of the whole thing. When she got to her license and could drive, I was like, ooh, I ain't got to do nothing. Amazing. So anyway, we'll be back in a little bit.
What's going on, y'all? It's Kwame Speaks from Kwame Speaks Live, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Hey, it's Pastor Kim from It's Just Kim Live Show, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
And we are back. We are talking about mothers of adult children. in lieu of Mother's Day being on Sunday, which once again I was not ready for. I'm like, oh Lord, what I'm supposed to do? I'm not ready. And of course, it's Thursday. I'm like, I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. One of the things I wanted to focus on too for this second part of the conversation is identity and growth. And I think once you become a parent, you realize that much of what you know about being a parent is how you were parented, and either sort of reconciling that or making some sort of, like, wow, this is what happened to me. Either I'm going to embrace that and move forward with it, or forgive and move forward, however, right? But you do have to think about the impact of how you were parented on how you then parent your own children. I have a friend, she's actually having an event to Saturday here in South LA. Her organization is called Parenting for Liberation, and she really focuses on how helping parents raise children from a social justice perspective as well, and this idea of like liberation and how we can parent differently than how we were parented in many ways. And she talks about that a lot. Like, well, you have to really reconcile and sort of reckon with the idea of how you were parented as you think about intentionally raising your children differently. And so one of the things I wanted to also talk about is the lessons from my own mother and mother figures, and how it shaped how I parent my adult child. So I would say that by the time I became an adult, right? I guess, and the irony of this is, by the time I became an adult, I was already a mom, right? So it wasn't like, oh, I became an adult and I was raised a certain way to adulthood, and then I became a parent. Like, I was a parent as a teenager. So it was like I was still being parented by my mom at the same time that I was parenting my child. I have never thought about that until just now. That's wild that I just realized that I was still being parented while I was being a parent myself. That's crazy. I don't know why that never occurred to me until right now in 2025 at age 46, but it did. I will say that there was a lot of push pull with my mom and I mean, and a lot of that I think is normal because I was a teenager. I was 17, 18, right? 19. Those are the years that you push, right? Against your parents. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm grown. But at the same time, hello, I was still living at home. So what was I? See, this podcast episode right now is giving me a moment of like, what the heck? I need to call my mama and apologize, because listen, I'm grown, and I got a child, but I'm living at home because I can't take care of myself 100% because I'm in school. What the heck is that? So what I will say is this: there was that push pull in our relationship. But I will say that I think we could have probably handled it a lot differently, a lot better, because by the time I was able to leave home, I was not happy because I feel like there was just so much anger. And I don't even know what to call what that was, but it just was not a very happy space. And so again, it reminded me and taught me that is not what I want to do with my child. So to me, it really told me, if this is this way, right? Me and my mom, I'm going this way, completely, totally different direction in how I raise her, because I don't want that kind of relationship. And I think, again, I don't think that I knew 100% what I was doing. I wasn't reading the books on how to raise, I don't think I knew exactly what I was doing, but whatever it was that I did, it worked, because she's the one that's calling like, hey, I'm not sure about this. What do you think this, I should do about this specific life situation? Hey, I need your opinion. I have a friendship and I feel like we're heading in a bad direction. Do you think did I overstep myself? And I feel like that's really good that she's able to come to me with a lot of things. I don't think she comes to me for everything, but I think there's a lot of things that she feels comfortable saying, like, Mom, like, am I tripping? Like, can you take the temperature? Like, am I wrong? Because I could be wrong. And I'm like, yeah. And I'll give you one example. I don't want to tell her whole business, but there's a friendship that she had, a friend that was very close to her. And I think, they kind of parted ways. And after some time, she reflected back and was like, I think I made a mistake. I think I overreacted. I think that I could have given more grace and I didn't. And so she said, I reached out and I kind of apologized and I didn't get a response. I feel like that was a sign of weakness. And I said, you can never be weak by doing the right thing. That is never the wrong thing. If you are speaking from your truth and being honest and realizing your mistakes, that's never a bad thing. And so I think, again, those kinds of conversations I'm able to have with her that I never would have with my mom. Like, I don't even think my mom would be able to like what? So I think those are some of the lessons I learned. They may not be sort of crystal clear lessons on how to be a mother, but I think it taught me, well, if I want this kind of relationship with my daughter, I need to not go this way. I need to go this way. And so I kind of learned in that respect. I also had an aunt, my mother's older sister, I was very close to growing up, spent a lot of time there. And she was very adventurous and she did a lot of things that I knew nothing about. And so I learned a lot from her. And I think that also too, I was able to use and give to my daughter as well. So I think there's some really good lessons, but the key is to be able to understand and recognize, because a lot of times we go through life, we don't stop to reflect on either what has happened to us or how we are operating within our family dynamic. So we can't even really tell or see it to know to undo it, right? If you can't see it, how do you know? If you can't tell that this is not the way you want to go, then how do you know to go that way, right? So I think that's something else that really was really important to me. The other thing I'll talk about is connection and legacy. Like how important it is to nurture connection with an adult child without being, overbearing, without overstepping your boundaries. And one thing that I've learned is, like, first of all, for me, this is me, as long as you are safe and happy, that's it. Safe and happy. If you're unsafe and unhappy, then it's like, hey, what's going on? How can I help you? Do I need to come down there? What? But other than that, you're safe, you're happy. I am out of your business. I'm sure there are things that she does I have no idea, but I don't need to know. It's none of my business, right? But it's also just knowing when to wait to be called, right? Step in and, hey, you can check on your kids, but wait for them to reach out and see if you can be helpful. And I think once they know that you're helpful without being judgmental, they'll kind of continue to be responsive to you, right? Funny thing is, a couple years ago, I have to find it. I hope we can run it as a rerun. I have to ask the producer. There was a TikTok video that a young lady did that said, okay, grown, parents of adult children, you know why your kids don't talk to you. Stop acting like you don't know. And she named things, when your child was young, you read their diary and then ran and told all their business to your family members. You did this, you did that. And I was like, yup. That's exactly what it is. And so it reminds me of, there's some things that you can do to make sure that you stay in communication with your kids without being overbearing. And there's another graphic, again, me being on Instagram, that I found that was really helpful. And it says, if you want your adult children to enjoy talking to you, do these things. Follow up on things mentioned by them in previous conversation. One time Andrea had said she was worried, the job market is crazy and da-da-da-da. What should I do? And I gave her some insight and feedback. I said, perspective, honey. Everybody right now is in shambles in this job market. So I just want to give you that. So you have perspective, not to minimize how you feel, but I want you to understand the bigger picture. You're not the only one. Number one. Secondly, I gave her some key tips. But what I did do is I followed up. Hey, how you feeling better? What's going on? So pay attention to what the kids is talking about so you can talk to them about it again. Care about the people in their lives. My daughter has a partner and they've been together longer than most of my partnerships. Hello. So like, hey, how's Norman? Right? How's Kiwi the turtle? That's her pet that she cares about. How's Mason Dixon, her dog? Right? How's the folks that you and your friends? And so you ask those questions. Oh, my mom is paying attention to me. She cares. Ask them questions. Hey, you good? How you doing? You all right? talk about relevant topics. She's into smoothie making now. So now I'm like, I need smoothie recipes that she's doing, because that's something that's important to her. Kiwi, her turtle, is important to her. Ask them if they have space to listen to you vent. I don't often call her to vent. And I think I will start to ask her if she has a moment for me to vent when I do, but I don't often do that. I have other friends for that, right? I feel like that's not her space to do. Give them space to make mistakes. Sometimes I'll be like, girl, I done told you. I still do that. Nah, see, I told you don't do that. And she's like, oh yeah, I know. So I give her space, but I'm like, I told you. Another one that's important, tell them about the mistakes you made. It humanizes you. It lets them know that the expectation is for them to learn, right? To continuously learn. It don't matter if they 28 or 48, right? But it's also a good thing to just be real. Like, I messed up. This is a mistake that I made. And this is what I did. And then lecture less. I don't lecture her. I know her other parent probably does. But I don't, because it's like, why? She is capable. She has moved. She has her own home, her own family. I will say this. I knew she was fine, right? When she left, I'm like, she's fine. She can take care of herself. But for sure, I knew she was fine when I went to visit. I just went to visit recently and stayed in her home and, all the good things. And I'm like, she's fine, right? It's like I had to see it, like, and touch it, like she's okay. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing. So if you are struggling, maybe you got a grown kid, 21, 28, I don't know, and y'all relationship is strained, try some of these tips. And I guess my little light said, baby, we finna turn off. It's okay. Y'all can still see me. These tips are really, really important to maintain communication with your kid, regardless of how old they are. They still want to feel like they're being supported and heard. And I think it's just really, really important to do. So let me hear, I'd be really interested to hear your experiences. If you have adult kids, what that's like, what your relationship is like. If you even have grandkids, right? So then it's like your child and then their child, what that's like as well. I think that's really, really awesome. Next week, I'm going to have one of my friends come on, Dallas Frank is going to come on. She has adult children, and I wanted to get her perspective as well about her thoughts on it. And we'll see if we can get Andrea on. I've had her on before, and, I always love to have her on to hear her thoughts as well. But yeah, I feel like, Mother's Day is coming. There's all sorts of ways to be a family, to be a mom. There's aunts and there's cousins and other family members and friends that step into that mother role that is really so, so very important. So if you're a mom or a mom figure in someone's life, kudos to you. Shout out to you for doing the hard work. And hope you have a beautiful Sunday for Mother's Day, because it's going to be amazing. I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably go to the pool and walk around and do my exercise like I always do, and just rest, because being temporarily disabled is difficult with this walker and things. And so I think I'm just going to do something for myself and then just take some time to rest. All right, y'all. I'll see you next week. Don't forget, you can find me on my website, www.NicoleDvick.com. I have all sorts of things on my website. My books are there, Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson, Push Through, 52 Weeks of Light in Tough Times. Or like, what? That is so long. And then the latest one is an anthology that I'm part of called Triumph in the Trenches. Woo! It's around Black. It's a guide to help Black professionals navigate the workspace. And, I think I'm about to start another book. I got to talk about this angle some other way. We'll see how that goes. I'm on social media, LinkedIn, more than anything else at this point in time. Instagram as well. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I will see you next week. Bye, y'all.
you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.